Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Bold Metal Nerd coming at you with another video. And in this one, I'm going to kind of talk about a few different topics, but you pretty much know the main thrust of this video from the title. If you've been watching my videos for a while, um, you know that 2016 up to this point, and we're almost at the end of 2016. 2016 has been one of the worst years for me professionally of my life. It all started in February of this year when I got laid off from a long-term position that I had. It's a job that I had for almost 6 years, and it was actually a really good job in many ways. The pay was it was decent, but the job itself was actually really good, had good benefits, the whole 9 yards. But it ended as things do because of a reorganization of the company, and they decided to can my ass in February. So, such is life. Within 3 days, though, I'm sorry, by the end of that week, I actually had another job lined up. Not bad, right? I guess it's good to have IT skills, which can be, which are in demand. And I landed that job. But before I took that job, I knew I didn't want it. The you know, it was a crap job. I mean, I knew it was a crap job before I even started, but it's not like I had another job to go to, so I took that job. Okay. And it took a few weeks for me to start at that job due to paperwork, all this other crap. So I didn't actually start working there for a couple weeks. I actually lasted 3 days at that job before I got another one. Um, it was a, much better job. But the good job that I took, by then it was either late February or early March. I'm not sure. I think it was maybe early March. Um, I started there, and I knew going in that it was 50-50 whether it would go to be a permanent full-time job or not. It was a contract job. But then again, the 3 day job I had was also a temporary contract. It was only a 3 month contract. So basically, I was leaving one contract for another. Who cares, right? I wasn't leaving a permanent job. You get the idea. So anyway, in my second contract position that quite frankly I liked much better. The work was a lot better, the pay was better, everything about it was a lot better. Um, it ended because honestly, the management team at that company, in my opinion, they just have their heads up their asses. What's funny is they told me how well I was doing at that job, and then like my performance was really good, yada yada yada. And then and then maybe a week or two after I heard that, that's when I learned the job would not be going permanent and would end. So that ended in late June. I was out of work until late April, where I landed the job I have now. I'm not late April. I'm sorry, late June, late August. I meant to say late August. So I was out of work for about 2 months, from late June to late August, basically. During those 2 months, I applied for many, 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 many jobs. Obviously, I went on many interviews. I only managed, unfortunately, to land the job that I have now. Now, before I took my current job, um, like when I got the job offer for my current job, of course, I accepted it because I didn't have another job or any other offers. But I knew before I started this job, I didn't even really particularly, I was not excited about the job. And I'll explain why here in a minute. I mean, in fact, I was so unexcited about my current job that I still went on two other job interviews too uh, after I got my initial job offer before I actually started working at my current job. So, unfortunately, neither one of those interviews turned into an actual job offer. But, you know, I started my current job, and I figured I'd give it a shot. Now, here's why I don't really like my current job. There's a number of reasons. Um, One, this is I'm gonna go kind of probably from smallest reasons to biggest reasons why I don't like the job. The smallest reason I don't like my job is basically in my current job. I'm kind of like in a glorified call center. It's not exactly a call center. It's a little better than that, but it's not significantly better than that. It's basically a call center. It's just not full blown one. It's quite a step down for me. I'm used to, for the last, prior to that, my first 12 years in IT, I was used to having my own office. So I go from having my own office, my own space, to basically being in a call center after a very long time. It's a bit of a step down career wise, but whatever. A job's a job. That was one thing I didn't love about it, but I could accept it. Um, and there's an on-call schedule. I had not been on call for a long time. So knowing that I was going to be in an on-call rotation again, definitely less than optimal. I did not want to do that, but again, it was my only job offer, so that's second strike against it. And now we're looking at the two main things. The company I work for is an IT managed service provider. And basically, what that means is they provide IT services for many, many, many different companies. I believe, well, no, I know that the one that I work for provides IT services to more than 100 companies. And that's good and bad. The reason it's good is you do learn a lot of technologies in a very short amount of time, many, many more than what you would in a corporate IT department, because you're forced to, because you're dealing with so many different things, which is good because it will skill you up pretty quickly. But it's also terrible at the same time because you're dealing with 100 different environments, and on a lot of them, you don't have good documentation, or the documentation's unclear, or you don't know what the fuck to do. Every single day, I am tasked with fixing things I have no idea how to fix. It's a daily thing. Some people thrive on that kind of challenge. Personally, I'm okay with it sometimes, but every day, when it's constant and it's daily, it's like you're being ground down under a giant wheel of shit. I personally, going through this daily, I hate it. Some people might like it. I fucking hate it to death. you know, yeah, I'm really just not thrilled about that aspect of it. Some people like it. I don't. Another thing, and the other big thing that I really don't like about this company is the way the pay scale works. Basically, the only way you're going to make enough money to really justify this job is if you hit what they call util, or utilization. Basically, what this means is you have to work your ass off um, to fully get paid, because everything they do is based on billable hours. So you have to basically bill so many hours in a month to get a full bonus. So basically, what that translates to is you have to bill 7.6 hours per working day, like Monday through Friday. You have to bill 7.6 hours to get your full bonus. If you don't, obviously you make less money. And that contributes to a huge amount of stress. You're like, am I hitting enough util to get paid enough, right? It's horrible. I've never ever had to think this way in IT. It's maddening. You really can't take. And one thing I've always liked about IT that I really can't do in this job is in between issues, you can kind of take small mental breaks, recharge a little bit, and move on to the next thing. Well, because you have to kind of keep up this, what I call this killing pace, Can't really do that in this job. You have to go issue, 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 issue all day long if you're wanting to make money. There's really no breaks, except your lunch, obviously. Other than that, you really don't get many breaks throughout the day. It's pretty miserable, actually. And now I'm going to kind of go over my evolution of my attitude towards this job. Before I started this job, I thought to myself, well, this job definitely is not optimal for me, but I'll at least give it a year and see how I feel about it, right? I didn't plan on looking for a job for a year. Yeah, well, that did not last long. After I was there, maybe, got to think here. Once I was really rolling in the job, I think by, at the latest, early October, I was already thinking to myself, by early October, I was ready to seek other employment. I said to myself, by the first week of October, I said to myself, okay, I am going to give this job until the end of the year, and then I'm going to look for other opportunities, right? So October came and went, and then something happened. I missed my util by 45 minutes, and it cost me $75 as far as wages go, right? That's an expensive 45 minutes to miss, right? So I talked to some coworkers, and they're like, oh, yeah, well, if you ask them, maybe they'll cut you a break. Maybe they'll have some way to make, you can make up for it, bridge that gap. So I talked to, my bosses and stuff, and they're like, nope, sorry, your time entries weren't good, yada, yada, yada. Now, to be fair, some of my documentation wasn't that, could have been improved. There were a few inconsistencies, but that could have, been a training moment. But instead, they just said, nope, sorry, we're not going to work with you to improve this, but we'll talk to you about what you did. And that was the moment, and this was early last month, early November, when this happened. And that was the moment I said to myself, fuck this. I'm going to start looking for a job right now. So that's what I did. I went home that night, updated my resume and my LinkedIn, yada, 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 and I started looking. And so basically, I managed to land an interview the week of Thanksgiving, the Tuesday of the week of Thanksgiving. So I went on that interview. I still don't know the results of that yet, but I'll get to that. And of course I've been looking every day for a job, and right now, this time of year, it's really difficult to look. It's not there aren't that many jobs out there. Yeah, if you pay attention to the job sites and of course I get a million spam emails from them every day because I get, I'm actively looking for a job. There are these articles like, oh, the holidays is a myth about being a bad time to look for a job. No, it's not a myth. It's absolutely not a fucking myth. Basically, after, say, the first or second week of October, or I'm sorry, not in October, first or second week of November until the end of the year, basically, it's not totally dead, but it's mostly a wasteland for looking for a job. There have not been that many quality job postings. I've applied for a few here and there, but it's definitely not a smorgasbord of looking for a job. There's a huge slowdown. So, I mean, it's basically just shitty time to look for a job, but I am fortunate enough to have a job while I'm looking. So, back to that interview. Basically, they told me they would let me know by the end of last week. Well, the end of last week came and went. I didn't hear a peep. So I sent them an email today, actually. or I'm sorry, Friday. I sent them a Friday and got a response today. Basically, the response is, hey, we ran into a little bit of problems. There's a little bit of delay. We should be able to let you know something hopefully by the end of next week. Which is, that's better than a straight no, but it doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence because, and a lot of times when I've been looking for a job, very often, looking for a job is very similar to dating. You know, most of the girls that I've had sex with, I either have sex with them. It's usually pretty quick in the dating world. It generally happens by the third date, right? Um, if it happens by the third date, then you know it happens. The end. I fucked them. Hooray! Right? Good times a rolling. If I go out with a girl though more than 3 times, and we're a fourth, fifth date or whatever, it still hasn't happened. It's never happened at that point. It pretty much never happens. I've never went out with a girl a whole bunch of times and then have it happen after that. It just doesn't roll that way. Same thing with jobs, funny enough. A lot of the jobs that I've gotten, I either get an offer on the spot in the interview, or I'm driving home from the interview and I get a phone call asking me if I'd like to start, and or I get an offer within like a day or two, right? Um, Pretty much every time I've ever applied for a job and went on an interview, if it's the whole, we'll let you know in a few weeks, it's like fucking that girl I went out with 4 or 5 times. It's probably not going to happen. So yes, there's still a chance that I could get this job, but it's not guaranteed. And the job, I actually am extremely interested in it. It's a standard corporate IT position, much 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 better job than my current job. I think it would be a great fit for me, but it just really depends on what happens. So at least with me having a current crappy job, I do at least have the luxury of looking for a job that I actually want instead of just any old job that's floating out there. I can be selective about the jobs that I apply for. So, I don't have to settle for anything. I can get a job that I actually want, which will be great. Because mental health wise, it's strange. It's almost um, financially, obviously, it's much better to have a job financially, but mental health wise, there is almost nothing worse than a Sunday night before you have to go to a job that you hate and you're going to have to do it all week. Sunday night is rough. In some ways, and there are actually studies that borne this out, mental health wise, you're actually worse working in a job you hate than being unemployed. And since I've been both, I think that's probably true. I think though, there is more anxiety when you're unemployed, though, more general anxiety, because you're like, oh my God, money, where's money going to come from? What am I going to do? What's going to happen? So you are freaking out like that, but it's more of what's the word I'm looking for? Distant thought, I mean, it's kind of omnipresent, distant. Whereas when you work a job you hate, it's like this soul crushing daily grind down into dust. So, they're just two different types of shitty. It just depends on what your preference is on that. So, yeah, I guess I've pretty much have covered all of the points that I can think of regarding this. Obviously, my plan is if I can get this job that I interviewed for, hey, great. I have no idea if that's going to happen or not. As far as if I don't get it, of course, what I'm going to do, and I'm doing this until I hear back one way or the other. I don't care. I'm still basically cruising the job boards every day, applying to jobs that I think I'm qualified for, yada, yada, yada. That's a daily exercise of mine until I get another job. But what I'm going to do early next year, probably I don't know, maybe a week or so after New Year's, that's probably when activity is really going to pick up again, is I'm going to send out what I call the email. I have maybe 30 or 40 recruiters in pocket, and probably what I'm going to do come early January is I'm going to send them an email that says, hey, I'm here in the market again, yada, 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 looking for a new position. If you know of anything that you think I might be a good fit for, please let me know. And of course, send a current version of my resume along with that email. Just see what shakes out. Because the only reason I'm not doing this now is I don't want to be a bother. I think it would be much more strategic to wait until when there are more jobs on the goddamn market than to do it right now during the dead time. So I do have a plan, and I know I complained a lot in this video, but at least I have a fucking plan to try to change things. And my opinion, you can complain about if you have a plan to change things, feel free to complain. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I'd really like to hear about your experiences down below. Let me know what you think. As always, if you did like what you see, please thumbs up, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thanks a whole lot for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.